much was pulling me. I was just, you know, some people were golfing as a hobby. I was writing jokes and selling them to Jay Leno. So I started to go around to the clubs in New York, and I would work. And when you start out, you don't work, you know, nice, you know, beautiful clubs like the Improvs or the Punchlines or whatever. You work dive bars. Yeah. You work hellholes. They're open mic nights, right? So there's you know, they're amateur comics, poets, folk singers. One of the places I worked was in the Bowery of New York. It was called Downtown Beirut 2. I mean, this place was bad. This is the kind of place, Downtown Beirut 2, when people on the streets borrow money from you to go drinking, this is where they go to drink with the money that they borrow from you, okay? It was pimps, there was pushers, there was hookers, everybody's working out of this place, right? It was the dregs of society. Wow. And then comics, needy comics. And my routine was I'd get out of work, like at 7 o'clock for a dinner break, and I'd get in a cab, town car or whatever, and I take my suit coat off and my tie, tried to look as downtown as I could, and I have him drop me off like a block away and hide, and it was like some weird dysfunctional superhero, and I stuff all my clothes into my briefcase, and I go into these bars, and I pick a number, I wait, look at my watch, there's a nervous wreck because I had to get back to work, I do my little show, and then I get just back up and I go, and nobody would know, right? So on this night, this fight happens, so this guy's now screaming, "He cut me, man! That son of a bitch, he cut me, I'm gonna..." And the girlfriend starts crying, "Oh my God, look at my boyfriend, he cut me!" The answer, my friend, the guy just keeps playing. He's not getting off. He's not getting off, right? Cops show up, you know, they're walkie-talkie, 86, oh, he cut me, blowing in the wind. Right, okay. So now I think the show's gonna be over, right? No, they keep the show going, and I'm next. So I go on stage, and I say, and I think this is pretty funny, "Nice to be here at Downtown Beirut 2. I always wanted to follow a slashing." Well, the guy who got his neck slashed thought I was making fun of him, and he snaps, and he turns to me. He's got all these wadded up bloody napkins, and he goes, "Hey!" He goes, "You talking to me? I don't need to take any crap from you, you little son of a..." And he charges the stage, and he throws all these bloody napkins at me, and they land on my shirt, on my Brooks Brothers shirt. Oh, my God. Now, a normal person at this point says, "I'm going to get off stage." And no, I stay. And I keep going. I take the top of the mic stand, I get rid of the napkins, and then what ends up happening is he turns back to me, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "what are you doing anyway?" He's standing in the middle of the bar, like the whole place shuts up. I go, "I'm trying to tell jokes." He goes, "Oh, yeah?" He goes, "I like jokes. Hang on a second." He turns back to the bar. "Hey, everybody, shut the hell up. This guy's trying to tell jokes." And he was screaming so much that every time he screamed, like little spurts of blood would coming out of his neck, right? The whole place shuts up. You can hear a pin drop. It was the best 2 minutes I ever had. I get off stage. I get back in the car. I dress back up. I go back up. They couldn't find me. I got this huge blood stain. I'm walking around with like a file. I'm trying to hide the thing, right? And I walk into this big conference room, and the senior lawyer who couldn't find me, the partner of the firm, is screaming at me, "Where have you been? What are you doing? Why do you have a blood stain on your shirt?" And I was all like, I made some lame joke, like it's a really hostile deal. Like and that was my life. I was living a secret double life. Wow. Nobody on Wall Street knew about comedy. Nobody in comedy knew about Wall Street because they wouldn't take me seriously. And my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, who I was living with, she didn't know because I was embarrassed to tell her. And so this went on, I mean, for months, over a year, of just like sneaking around. And my wife tells me now, when I finally told her what was happening, she goes, "Oh, thank God." I go, "Why?" She goes, "Well, I thought you were cheating on me because you're supposed to be at work and you're coming home reeking of beer and cigarette smoke and you got blood stains and you have women's phone numbers." And there were actually other comics who were just referring me to rooms. I started to feel like I had one foot in one rowboat and another foot in another rowboat, and they're going like that. And I got to kind of make a decision, right?
So it was always an all or nothing kind of.
Well, at that point, it got to the point where I kind of had to, you know, fish or cut bait because I couldn't keep that lifestyle up because my day job alone was an insane job, and then to go out at night and troll around these bars, and I was like, I was going around with these guys, and sometimes I have to drive the other comic, and so I'm looking for this sign from God, and then all of a sudden my father dies unexpectedly, and I have to go home to Rhode Island for the funeral. And when I'm there, my mother says, "Will you stay and help run the family business?" And I think, "God, could I have another sign? Because this is not the one I wanted," right? Wow. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be a comic or a lawyer banker. I'm supposed to go home and take over the business, and that's the reason my father died. And I'm like, 6 months of this is like, this is not, I can't, you know. So I go back to New York. I I sell my apartment, my 2-bedroom condo that I owned, and I sold my suits and everything. I kept my car and a little TV, and I moved to a rooming house just outside the city, which was really a halfway house for 2 ex-cons, 2 recovering addicts, and a 300-pound phone sex operator who sold Herbalife diet products door to door. I'm not happy. I feel like I made a mistake now. Now I'm looking back over my shoulder. I'm 6 months into this full time, and I'm like, oh, this is the dumbest thing I ever did, man. This is killing me. What am I doing? Some time goes by, and I get audited by the IRS because I had a lot of income, and then I had no income. And I'm just like, what have I done? What have I done? And I'm living like a student again. And then I get audited, and I have all these doubts, and I'm thinking I should just leave. And then the audit really brought me to my knees because the audit was the auditor became the personification of all of my doubts. So he starts going through my file, going, well, you know, I see you, you know, you Wall Street and a lot of money, and then all of a sudden this past year you have like a huge loss. What's going on? I left Wall Street to be a stand-up comedian. Yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, listen, stop screwing around. Tell me the truth. This is, you know, this is a legal situation. This is very serious. I went, no, I'm serious. He goes, what? I go, no. He goes, no, nobody, he said to me, nobody in their right mind would do that. Tell me exactly what you did with your money. And I had to bring my lawyer and my accountant in with me the next meeting. He would not believe me. So he became all the doubts personified. Yeah. He started to say all those things that I was thinking, and my mother and my father and my family were saying, like, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? And then I remember driving home one night, and my car, which had now been, like, completely, everything was corroding from the salt water, so the lights would sort of flash on their own, and the cars coming that way were flashing me back, thinking I was flashing them and telling them about cops. And I swear the Morse code of their lights was like, what have you done with your life? You're such a loser. You made a huge mistake. And so I got a call a couple of weeks later from a buddy of mine that was starting up a new department in an investment bank, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, I'm not on Wall Street." He goes, "I need somebody to work with me." And then all of a sudden, I'm standing on the platform and waiting for the train, like 8 o'clock in the morning, with the Wall Street Journal under my arm and my briefcase again, looking like 40 other guys in my trench coat, and I'm like, what am I doing now? And I'm going back, and I don't know if I want to go back, but I'm going back because I'm lost and I'm afraid. And